Tired of using the same meta weapons over and over again? Well, here are 10 off-meta weapons that you can use as excellent alternatives. Starting the list, we have the Holger 26. While as an LMG it's rather mediocre, its recent buff this season allows it to be surprisingly competitive as a flex assault rifle. Now, its overall stats are nothing special. Its range, mobility and handling are quite standard for a flex weapon, and its time to kill is average. But because it's an LMG converted into an assault rifle, that means it retains the ability to wallbang and benefits from full body disable. It also retains its initial BSA for up to 11 shots, which more than makes up for its mediocre BSA. Pairing this with its extremely low recoil means that it's a very reliable option for those mid to long ranges. So if you're looking for an easy to use assault rifle while having the utility of an LMG, this is pretty much your only choice. Despite the criticism it has received from the player base, the Grau 556 is a pretty underrated assault rifle. While yes, it is objectively worse than the Type 19 in most aspects, it's still a lot better than some would think it is. Its potential 4-tap range is not as consistent as the Type 19, but in return, it features a significantly longer guaranteed 4-tap range, and just like the Type 19, it features very low recoil and decent mobility. It does lose out to the Type in terms of BSA, but it's still workable for most of your engagements. Speaking of Type 19 alternatives, we have the AK-117, a classic assault rifle that many OG players would be more than familiar with. Compared to the Type 19, it has a more consistent 4-tap due to the higher chest and lower arm multipliers. It even has a slightly better time to kill profile. The downside of this weapon is the unpredictable recoil plot, which means that the recoil pattern will not be the same for every spray, and forces you to build it slower than the Type 19. Arguably, the biggest glow-up in CoDM's history goes to the Lag 53, as it has gone from the absolute worst assault rifle in the entire game to one of the better options with just a single buff. This weapon performs very similarly to the Oden, featuring the ability to reliably 2-tap for a blistering fast time to kill. It also has much less recoil than the Oden, which makes it better suited for the newer players, although this does come at the cost of having noticeably worse mobility, and making it less ideal if you want to play it aggressively. The GKS performs a lot like the USS-9. Just like its meta counterpart, it features the ability to reliably 3-tap for an excellent time to kill of 200 milliseconds, and enough BSA to challenge assault rifles. Its main advantages are that it's hit scan and has less hit flinch, which makes it slightly more consistent at range. But this does come at the cost of having worse mobility and range. It's also slightly less consistent at 3-tapping in the second range. Now I know we've talked about the KN-44 in our top weapons video, but we'll be mentioning it again. The main strengths of the weapon are its effectively infinite 4-tap range, paired with the ability to 3-tap up to an impressive 38 meters. Recoil is more so on the moderate side, but you should be able to control it for most of your engagements. Pair this with great BSA, it is an excellent option for those looking for a long-range weapon that can still compete against the more aggressive weapons. The only downside of this gun is that the 3-tap is very reliant on chest shots, which makes it not as consistent in closer ranges. Remember the Kilo 1-for-1 back when it was meta? Well, we have something better, the HG40. This is essentially the Kilo with significantly better mobility and handling, since it's an SMG, while still having a similar time to kill profile. In fact, its range is slightly better. Recoil is low, and its BSA is viable for most of your engagements. But it's important to play this as more of an assault rifle, since its close range time to kill is too slow to compete with SMGs. Alright, raise your hand if you missed the cleaner BP50. I'm sure most of you have your hands down for that one, but let's just say for the sake of argument, you want that 4-tap potential back but don't want to deal with the small 30-round mag. The next best thing will be the QXR. Time to kill wise is very similar to the BP50 with the 30-round mag, in fact it's slightly better. Mobility and handling are quite comparable as well, and it even has a 50-round mag to boot. But the big trade-off here is that the recoil is nowhere as low as the BP50, so this might not be the best option for beginner players. The CX-9 Burst, as many of you would know, is one of the most lethal weapons in the game, but it is quite tricky to use since it only has a 12-round mag, which is why we have the Tech 9. It features the ability to insta-kill anyone within the 1-burst range, while still retaining a very competitive 2-burst time to kill. And unlike the CX-9, it comes with a way larger mag size, making it much more user-friendly. The only real downside of this gun is that you cannot run a suppressor, which can be a deal breaker for some players. But if you're the type of player who likes to rush into the objective, this is an amazing option. The last weapon we want to talk about is the Raul MG. After the buff this season, it is now a phenomenal passive weapon that rivals the PKM. The Raul trades just 1 frame of time to kill, for a way more consistent 3-tap potential, all the way up to 40 meters, which makes it a great option for holding long sidelines. But just like the PKM, it has a pretty big drawback. It's slow, and I'm talking slow. So you really have to commit to the passive playstyle, as using it aggressively is practically a death sentence. If you found the video helpful, please leave a like and your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you already haven't. Going dark.